here. Just going over a quick thing over the 10244 starter box. I've been getting quite a few calls, so I'm just doing a quick video here in the warehouse in our bomb shelter on the trigger system. The trigger switch, that usually is the failure at the track when you're practicing and something stops working and the motors aren't working and so on. So what we're going to do is get into the trigger system, look at the trigger system, get you a quick remedy on getting it fixed. Since you're at the track, most of the times tracks don't have shops and you need to order this, but of course that's after the weekend of racing. So we want to get into the box, get you a quick fix, get you going for that day, and then you can go back home and order your parts. Of course, this is my box. My box has a lot of miles on it, has a lot of use, as you can see, and I tend to use it all the time. Of course, good maintenance on the car or on the box will keep this thing running forever. So I've already replaced my trigger from my old trigger that's in the box. I still keep it as a spare, but I did what I needed to do to get it fixed just in case this one stops working and I need to change it right away. So we'll get into this trigger here that I had that just wore out, and I did the quick remedy fix. Of course, I did that at the track because I did not bring one of these with me, and now I have the spare. So we'll move the box to the side. Of course, the trigger system, like I said, is the on and off switch for the starter box. When you push down on your car, this plunger system goes down. This washer makes the connection between the two metal tabs, and of course the washer itself is metal. These three units with a 4-cell LiPo battery tend to discharge at a high rate and spark, or arc I should say, causing this left terminal here to wear out, get dark or blacken up, and stops working and doesn't make an equal point of connection and can't reach down. Two reasons for that. The trigger itself could be melted, and that could be due to you're trying to start a new engine, it gets stuck, and you're trying to force it and force it and force it. Well, the motors get hot, and they transfer that heat through the wires down to these two terminals. This terminal takes the most abuse. This one will arc all the time if you don't make a full connection. So if you're barely tapping on the box to get it started, you're always going to arc. You're always going to arc. That is where you need to push down firmly on your box to get everything started. Of course, that's not always the case. It wears out, the terminal starts to melt and starts to go down into the metal tab starts to go into the plastic and then off aligns these two contact points that don't close the circuit. So as a quick remedy to get you going at the track, and hopefully you'll be able to see it here as I pull the screw off. And this is an old terminal. Like I said, the old terminal is wore out here. It's already been blackened and chewed up. It doesn't stick out very far. You can take needle nose pliers and very easily bend that back up to get some life, or you can rotate to the other side, which has a little bit of a higher tab, and make a new contact point with that. But if your trigger is melted, you're going to notice that I already have a washer here at the bottom that already sunk down because the plastic got hot and started to sink. I put that washer there, and then I put the metal tab back on the top to rise the tab back up so it makes a good contact point with the two terminals that are going to be pushed down all the time from the washer. So as I put this one in, I actually use the old tab instead of the newer end because I still want to try to get as much life as I could out of that one. I put the screw back in the unit and hold that tab down. And when I do that, like I said, then the alignment is almost as original as it was when you first bought your box. Of course, like I said, when you're at the track and you don't have time to be ordering a part or looking for a part, of course, because you want to practice and race as much as possible, this is the weekend after kind of issue. You want your starter box working now, and this is what you're going to be doing. So you'll be screwing this terminal back in place. Of course, it twists and turns, and you put your wire terminal back in place along with this, and you'll make a good contact point for it. Your starter box will continue to run for the day until you can replace it with a new trigger. Of course, that's a little misaligned right there, but that washer underneath actually brings the metal tab back up so that the 2 points, contact points, are almost equal to each other, and when you push the plunger down, you'll fix that issue to get your box started and going for the rest of the day as your box is finally taking its toll and wore out a little bit. So you can consistently do this over and over again. Of course, like I said, if you get in your box and you look at it often, you'll notice that the terminals will start to oxidize and wear out and so on, and rust and do all the things, because the box is in the element just like it is all day long. You want to make sure that you look at that probably before you go out racing. And I know not everybody gets to it, but you know, it lasts quite a few runs before it starts to wear out. So like I said, I myself have replaced my tab or my trigger system. I use my old plate versus my new plate that's on here, and because I had the Velcro already on here and strapped in place. The Velcro is an easy and quick way to get into the box really quickly instead of using the screw tab. So keeping it closed, it doesn't come out, it doesn't vibrate loose or so on, it doesn't shake loose, it does stick on very well. Of course, my religious thing for me is, being that it's a LiPo battery, I tend to go to the track, plug it in, use it for the day, and when at the end of the day I unplug my battery, just because battery discharge, you don't see it, they swell up, they get a little lumpy after a while. The last battery pack I just charged, it basically exploded on me. So and it just had a lot of long runs on it. So that's just the just in case point. Switch 2, you know, you can accidentally turn the switch back on, and this can be pushed around in your bag and so on and get started. So it's just a safety precaution for me, and being that I have the Velcro in its place, I don't have to deal with the screw going in and out, and so on. So this is the quick remedy of fixing a 10244 starter box, and this will actually reference to most of the starter boxes we have, as the triggers are almost identically the same, they look the same, and they operate the same way. And some of the other starter boxes that are out there that are from our competitors, they almost run the same critique, and they can have the same remedy too. So here it is, 10244 quick fix on the trigger system.